this is a big job and a big opportunity, and it should be thorough. The players that are here in place and the team that we have is really exciting. And I kind of said it when I was first opened up here, to be able to come back to the city of New York and coach a team like this is really exciting. It's a good team and good players, and to get that opportunity, I'm really excited about it. So, like I said, it was a thorough interview process, and it should be. It's to be the head coach of the New York Rangers. You always have to adapt, Larry. You have to be able to see what you have and where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are, and you have to play to that a little bit. But I also have, values of what I think is important with regard to a team. It's the thoughts of how we're going to play and the identity that we're going to play with. I've found that a lot of times that players can adapt to that. And that doesn't mean that certain situations or certain opponents or certain parts of the schedule you don't make adjustments and you don't make changes. But there has to be a clear-cut plan on what it is that we're doing. That's my job to communicate that. It's my job to hold players accountable to that. And sure, there's always a little bit of adjustment and adaptation, but when you can get a team on the same page to play a brand of hockey that you feel, or that I feel, can be successful, I found there to be success that follows. For me, it's always been a little bit more of an aggressive approach. I think that you have to play good defense, and you see that for teams that win Stanley Cups. Defense is always a priority, and you have to be able to play good in your defensive zone and good defense. But for me, it's about the attack. It's about pressuring. It's about puck pursuit. It's about the battle level, the compete level, the grit. It's that grind in the game that makes teams great. And so I think that you can't just flip a switch on that. That has to be talked about now. It has to be taught in training camp. It has to be worked on through the exhibition games, and it has to be pushed through the entire season, so that it's not something that you're asking to change or to flip a switch to be able to play playoff hockey. It's so that you're ready. You prepared yourself the whole year to play playoff hockey. Well, I just met Adam Fox, so that was cool. That I started to make phone calls. It's been, like I said, we went through an interview process that it wasn't about, even though it seemed like it was substantial because it was in the newspapers. I wasn't calling players, and I wasn't reaching out, and I wasn't communicating. And so since I've gotten the job, I started to establish lines of communication with the players, just to reach out to them and get to know them. And then, I always find that when you're in here before training camp and they're going about training and doing their thing, there's always, you're always seeing players, and there's conversation, and you chat and whatever. You can't coach them or anything like that, but you can start to establish a line of communication and start to develop relationships with the players, and then obviously those relationships build through the course of a year. My message, I guess, to everybody is let's go to work. Let's get working. And like I said, I think that we have really good pieces in place, but to me, it's about that work ethic that drives teams. And so I think that the messaging for me with the players is that we're going to start working in training camp, and we're going to take it through the season and try to prepare ourselves for the playoffs and a push.